Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. In this video, I would like to explain about my understanding about questioning skills. Before we started to the material, let me introduce myself. My name is Suhendar, and I'm from class 3C. In this discussion or in this video, there are 4 material that I will be explain, such as what is questioning skill, criteria for good questions, type of questions, and probing question. What is questioning? Questioning skills are essential to good teaching. Teachers often use questions to ensure that students are attentive and engaged, and also to assess students' understanding. Such question enable to the teacher to more accurately evaluate if the student truly were attentive and if they understand the material goodly. With the stimulus from the teacher in question form, then it can help student to increase the student participation in learning activities, can make focus students' attention on the problem being discussed, and also develop students' thinking patterns and dig up information, check the understanding of the students, and also guide the thinking process of the student. It is because effective questions that being asked by the teacher will lead students to the right answers. Okay, let's continue. The second material is about criteria for good questions. Okay, there are 3 criteria for good questions. The first is the question should be clear, concise, and easily understood by the student. Why? Because if the question's clear, it will be easier for the student to understand and will be easier for the student to answer the question. And the second is the question focuses on a particular problem. Because why we should to focus in a particular problem? Because when we explain a material, there will be some problem or a problem that we can ask to the student to answer. The third is the question provides sufficient information about what is being asked. So the question should be consists of some information that can directly make the student understand what are being asked by the teacher. Maybe so. Let's continue to the next material. Okay, the third sub material is types of questions. I'm sorry for the camera. In this type of question, many researchers have worked on the styles and type of questions. Broadly, there are 4 types of questions. These are low order questions, middle order questions, higher order questions, and follow-up questions. Let us brief and examine each one of the type. The first is low order questions. Low order questions in this level, questions are limited to memory level of thinking, which forms the basic of higher level learning These questions merely deal with the mode of expression, such as like define the feeling of I'm sorry. It can be take the example like define the feeling of patriotism in your own words. Like the student should define the meaning of patriotism. And the second is middle order questions. Middle order questions, as the question at the middle level, involve interpretation of facts or concepts being taught or already learned. Interpretation involves comparison or examination of a relationship between ideas, concept, generalization, and meanings. In comparison questions, the students are asked to find out similarity or dissimilarity between two or more ideas. For example, like if we talk about Chinese and India, we can ask like compare the market system of India and China. This is the comparison question. In explanation question, the students are asked to explain the relationship between two or more facts, concept, values, and generalization. In explanation one, the cause and effects relationship is represented in the form of description or numerical expression. The important feature of middle order questions is that they are used to transfer that already acquired training or learning to solve new problems faced by the students. And the third one is higher order questions. This is the question that encourage the children to think, to reason beyond acquired knowledge, to analyze problematic situation into their elements, and to discover the interrelationship among those elements. These questions enable the students to produce some ideas and to develop creative and reasoning abilities. The skills promoted by the by these higher order questions may be divided into into three levels, such as analysis, synthesis, and evaluation. For the next and for the last is probing questions. When students are asked questions by the teacher, they give various types of responses. Their responses may be incorrect, partially correct, or completely correct. Completely correct. In case of incorrect or partially correct, you have to go deep and probe into their responses by asking a number of supplementary questions on what they already know, and then lead them to the correct response by removing the defect, if any, in the wording of the question or hindrance in understanding the question. Even if the response is correct, you can lead the student toward a better and broader perspective of the response. The technique that deals with student response, maybe there are 5 components for probing questions. The first is seeking further informations. The second is prompting. The third is refocusing. The fourth is redirecting. And the fifth is increasing critical awareness. I'm so sorry for unclear voices. Let us discuss about the 5 components. The first is seeking for the information. The purpose of seeking for the information is to encourage the student to supply additional information and bring the initial response to the criterion level. By, I mean, while you seeking the further information from the student, you can use, for example, you can use, what more can you add to your response? State your answer in other words. Or you can use, will you please elaborate your answer? Or yeah, you can use those questions to seeking further information from the students. The second is prompting. A teacher prompts when he gives clues or hints and help his student by asking them leading question. Yeah, leading question you can see from the seeking further information. The objective of using this device is to help the student answer the question correctly and adequately by himself. This skill allows the teacher to probe the student's knowledge by prompting him. Uh, by prompting the student, teacher is not like giving the answer, but the teacher lead the student to answer the question correctly. Yeah, something like that. And the third is refocusing. When a pupil gives a correct response, the teacher relates that answer with topic already taught. This refocus his or the student's answer or the class's attention to the related topic unit. The main aim behind this this component is to make the student aware of the implications of a given response in more complex and novel situation. So we, as the teacher, have to refocusing the student to focus to the topic that being discussed. The fourth is redirecting. A teacher redirects a question when he puts or directs the same question to several other students for the desired response. The main purpose of redirecting is to probe and increase student participation when there is no response. Where there is no response from the student, incomplete response or incorrect response from the student, you can probe further by prompting or seeking further information. In this situation, you may involve other students of the class as also. So when you ask a student and he or she answer it incorrectly, the answer is false, you can ask the other student to make that the previous student to know the correct answer from the other student. Maybe, yeah, it's that. And for the last is increasing critical awareness. In this component, teacher tries to increase the student's critical awareness when he aims at eliciting why or how of a correct response from them. The main purpose of this component is to find out the students' increased critical awareness, and the teacher asks questions to justify the students' response rationally. I can give you some example of question to increasing the student awareness. You can use, when the student answer your question, you can ask them by, how can you prove it? How can the student prove uh, their answer? Something like that. And what are you thinking or assuming here? Like, if a student answer the question correctly, you can ask, what are you thinking here? Like, why did you answer by I mean, why did you answer the question by its opinion, by her opinion? Oh, yeah, something like that. And for the last, you can, why do you favor this? Like you ask the reason why the student answer the question with their opinion. Yeah. Maybe that all what I can deliver in this video. Um, I'm really sorry for unclear voices or uh, speedy voices, speedy talk. Like I'm very in a hurry, but it's maybe some of my nervousness. Like, yeah, I'm really sorry for that mistake. Uh, but thank you for your attention. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.